Hey, it's Thursday, it's 8 p.m. Sit back and relax. You're on the green couch.
You don't do fantasy football, do you?
I will occasionally do small-time betting on hockey games.
Oh,
Just one-offs.
just one-offs.
Yeah, not like a season-long thing.
No. Do you have a bookie?
DraftKings.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I do fantasy football. I get excited to do fantasy football, and then I start playing fantasy football, and then I want to kill myself every Sunday because my team is so bad. My team is so bad. Every year, my team is so bad, and this year is no different.
And that's when you build a roster, so you've got all these different players from all these different teams, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you build a roster of like people that would be on your. This would be your fantasy.
Because
team.
you're a Pats guy.
I'm a Pats guy.
You're a Darth Vader fan.
I'm a Darth Vader fan.
And
I don't when I put together my team, I don't do the one. I'm not going to go. I'm doing all Pats players. I know there's other players out there that are really good.
Mm-hmm. You just pick all the wrong ones.
I pick good people, and then something happens where it's like, oh, the team has changed their game plan anymore, so they're a running team. So, or like, oh, I have this thing where I'll have a player and they'll be terrible, and I was just like, you know what? And all the experts are going, this guy's done. He's no longer good. And then I was like, that's right. And I toss him. I'm like, phew. And then the next week he's amazing.
Yeah, he rebounds. People rebound.
I know. So that was just on my mind because when I saw you got a little sports text earlier, you were all upset.
Well, yeah, I misread the thing. I bugged out because I thought Aaron Judge got injured, and it turns out that he's just really enthusiastic. That's all.
All right. So this is kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. I have a spider quandary.
Go on.
Okay. So I have up in the corner, I have a relatively large spider web.
Yeah, you have an arachno friend over here.
Yeah. I've
Do
named
you know
him.
what kind of spider it is?
He's just a regular old, I guess they call him a basement spider. And I've named him
That's
Axel.
the technical name?
I don't know if he has like a Latin name, but his name is Axel. He's named after an old roommate of mine. This German guy Axel showed up one day.
Oh, okay. So you weren't roomies with Axl Rose?
No.
Or Axel Foley?
No.
Oh, okay.
None of the famous Axels. Axel was a German guy that kind of showed up when we were living in Hollywood. He became a roommate and nobody knew how long he was going to stay. So, hence, Axel the spider. So, like after the rains here in California, we had a little bit of a mosquito epidemic.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit of an epidemic.
So I'd leave the door open and I'd be working and mosquitoes would come in and they would start biting. And then, Axel showed up and he kind of...
Problem solved.
Right. So he took care of the mosquitoes. So I was like, all right, I got no problem with Axel. I mean, his web's kind of getting out of control. But
he's not hooked onto your guitars yet, is he?
No, he hasn't hooked on the guitars, but it's getting a little bit bigger.
It's getting close.
Yeah, but he just kind of sits up there and I stare at him and he stares at me and it's kind of, mutually, it's that roommate thing where it's like, all right, he's in his room and we share the place. But I thought, I don't want to take down his web and then, I don't know, kill the guy because...
So leave him be.
Right. Well, that's my quandary. I was like, well, he's had a pretty good spider life. And I was thinking, how long does a spider live? I mean, it's got to be like a fly where it's like 2 or 3 days, right? So I looked it up.
Oh, they gotta live. What? My guess, I want to say like 2 years.
3 years.
Shit.
So that's my quandary. I mean, Axel's, he's cool. He takes care of the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do anything.
Well, he does that.
Yeah. He just sits up there and maybe he'll just kind of go away. I don't want to
Yeah, I mean, if he's got no more food, he's not going to stay.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. If he's got no more food.
I mean, he's serving a utilitarian function. A couple of months ago, you had me working on a job that I needed to get goldfish for. At the end of the shoot, I'm stuck holding the bag with the fish in it.
Right.
So now I've got goldfish. And that was a thing enough, you know? Now we got a pet lobster. I looked into it. They can live like 20 years.
Oh, man.
I have just been signed up to a 20-year lobster commitment.
Right. That's longer than a dog without the love.
Yeah, man. It's like, and he's not catching mosquitoes or anything. He just smells and, you know, occasionally sheds his skin, scares the shit out of me because I've somehow grown attached to him, and I see this floating carcass and I'm like, oh, Lester. And then I see he's just like, actually, he's just back in there. That's his, he just changed his clothes.
Right, yeah.
Our blue lobster.
So he's kind of like, he's kind of like a roommate. He's that roommate that, just leaves his clothes out in the hallway and then he goes back in his room.
Dick. Put him in the laundry.
Yeah, so I don't know what to do with Axel. I'm just gonna let it ride for now. He hasn't gotten any bigger, and I'm hoping that he just kind of finds his way. But I can't find it in my heart to like. I might try to make his web a little smaller, but you know, people do walk in, they look in the corner of the room and like, you got a giant spider web up there, and you know, and I have to explain that he's like my roommate, you know.
Yeah, that's Axel. What do you want?
So, yeah, so that's my quandary. I don't know what to do with him. So,
my vote is let him be.
Okay, all right, that's what I'm leaning to.
All right.
Yeah, we could put that out to our listeners because I did that last time when we did the bar band.
Bar band. Did anybody get back to you on that?
No, because I forgot to say where you could do that. So we should probably do a little housekeeping. If you want to leave a comment, you can do that.
Well, YouTube is ArtSchool Records. Apple Podcasts is On the Green Couch. Instagram is ArtSchool Records. Podbean is On the Green Couch. If you can't find one, try the other name. You'll find us eventually. Otherwise, at this point, you probably know us personally. Just give us a call. We'll mail you a link.
There you go. But that's where you can leave a comment. And I want to hear from people that are pro spider, pro Axel.
Yo.
And then people that think I should just be a man and get rid of the spider. So that's my quandary. Now on to my beef. I have a gripe.
What really grinds your gears?
Yeah, I always have something. You know me enough that I have. And I admitted this earlier that I come up with these like things that like bug me, and I like wait to tell you about these things. So what was it, last week?
Yeah.
Had to go to a couple shows. We
had to?
Yeah, we had to. I mean, we had to. King Mala was doing a show. We had to go see that. And it was great. They played at Hey Hey, and it's like a boba joint, and they like destroyed the place. Like completely, you know, it was the patio, and they just...
It was cool, because I got there later than you and Aubrey did, and I could hear them from... All right, so Hey Hey is on Sunset, in between, like, maybe a block and a half up from the Echo, and I parked and could hear them from the supermarket that's like a block and a half away. It really kind of livened up the neighborhood. I could see them drawing people in from 2 blocks away because people were just like, it's not Echo Park Rising. I hear bands, though.
Right, and yeah. And so they were drawing people in. And they were pretty loud, like you could hear them, but they, you know, they just set up in the patio. And they just started to play, and they just kind of destroyed the place. I mean, like Drew was on fire. He was just, you know, smashing his drums and stuff. It was really great.
Anthony had all sorts of crazy ass gear that I wanted to spend a whole lot more time talking to him about.
Yeah, we'll do a gear episode with Anthony.
We got to get that dude in on the couch.
So anyways, then I went to go see Nikki Lorenzo, who was also really great. Not on the same night, different night. I went to see her. And then I went to see Amelia.
Yeah, you went to go see the ladies from Old Time Machine.
Yeah.
One of them, Rosie, was releasing a record.
Yes.
And the other one, Amelia, was there as part of the act at one point, right?
Yeah. And all three of them are completely different music, but all three did the same thing.
Rocked.
They rocked. No, it was great. They bring the people that come to see them, they bring them into the music, into their vibe. And that's not my beef. My beef was with some of the opening acts. There was none for King Mala. I just want to contrast that to what we're talking about. So I go to both of the other shows, and there's an opening act, and both opening acts were the same thing. It was a person with a guitar, and they were singing, and they were doing very intimate, personal music. And, you know, when I went to go see Nikki, I showed up at the club, and I was like, oh, hey, I'm going to go into the room, and I come walking around the corner, and it was almost like I hit a brick wall, because I could see into the room, and there was some guy with a guitar, and he was singing, and he had a really great voice, but he was singing really loud, but I couldn't get in the room because nobody wanted to interrupt this guy. And the same thing happened when I went to see Rosie do her thing. The same thing, the opening act was a girl who was singing, and same thing. It was very personal, it was very loud, and
very personal, very loud.
Very loud, and nobody
couch.
wanted to interrupt, or it seemed more like a politeness thing. And I remember I was texting my friend. I told him where I was at, and he's like, well, how's it going? And I was like, it's like being at a wake for someone I don't know. And it's not really right, because what was happening was both of these artists, and they're both really good artists, and they both had really great voices, and their songs seemed really good. My problem was with whoever put the show together, put these people in a situation that just didn't fit. They were both really kind of coffee shop type of things. And they're in like a nightclub situation where people like walk into the room, and you're like, oh, I don't want to say anything right now because it's just a person singing very personal stuff. And I don't want to be the person that like drops my cell phone in the middle of it. And it's not like, you know, it's not like if you walked in and like, say like Stevie Nicks was on stage and she was singing and be like, oh my God, it's Stevie Nicks. I relate to this person. I know some of her stuff, you know, that type of stuff. So it's just some random person. And
yeah, you're there with the right performer. Nobody's going to notice if, you know, another equally large performer walks into the room. It's like, hey, we're here to see Bruce Springsteen. If Madonna walks in the back door, nobody's going to take a second look. They're like, the Queen, a pop? Yeah. Whatever, the fucking boss is on stage, guy.
Right. Like everybody in both these crowds, the minute I tried to get into the room, I was almost stonewalled. Whereas what I'm saying with like King Mala, Nikki Lorenzo, Rosie, when they were playing, they brought people, they gravitated inward. You know, it wasn't about them. It was about bringing people in to listen to them. Where these other artists, and I think this is one of the things that a lot of artists don't understand, that particularly it's not about you. It's not about like, and you know, I'm going to sound like a complete dick, but
go for it.
I don't want to hear like about your like personal experience. Like maybe if we were talking in a conversation, but what
if you were on the green couch with ArtSchool records.
Like, in a conversation, it's kind of different, but it's akin to walking into a party and going really loudly going, I just broke up with Susan and I'm going to tell you everybody about it right now because I have the microphone. And that's kind of like my beef. And there's a place for that. There's a place for that where you go, you know, like if you're in a coffee shop and somebody's singing and you're in that mood, it's kind of intimate, where you go, okay, yeah, this person's up there, she's singing or he's singing. It's great. But when it's kind of so in your face that it prevents people, and I watch this, you know, just from the outside, I watch people from both venues just walk into the door and get stonewalled from someone that's booking a club. That's the last thing you want to do. Like, you know, both times there were more people hanging outside. So, you know, it's kind of like a perfect storm of somebody that just wants to, like the opening act at Rosie's show. She's like, oh, I'm going to do a Fleetwood Mac cover. And it wasn't about the song. It was about, I mean, it was super long and drawn out, and it was all about how well she could sing the song. You know, it's like she was auditioning or something like that. And so it didn't really do anything for the song. It was like going, oh, that was really great how well you sung that song, but that's not why I'm here.
Thank you. That was as long as it was loud.
Right, exactly. So that's kind of my pet peeve, and I'll probably get a lot of heat for it. But
The evidence is in your favor that people were doing the behavior you were explaining they're doing in the crowd. I think shows that you're not the only one.
I think as an artist, I'm always saying, I don't know, we've talked to a couple people here, that it's not about you as the artist, it's about your audience and bringing them in. I think there's a lot of disconnect, especially with some of these, like a singer-songwriter, because I've gone to see some other singer-songwriters that do bring people in. Chris Brochu is one of those guys that when he starts playing, he does invite people in, you know, it's just him and a guitar at times, but he does bring that element in. But more often than not, I see what I saw last week is it's like a stonewalling effect. Yeah, I didn't want to walk up to either artist afterwards and go, you know what? I have a podcast and I'm going to tell you what I think is wrong.
You didn't have me there. That's what I'm there for.
Yeah.
Listen, all right, I have a podcast.
I have a podcast. I'm going to tell you
what you're doing. Stop it.
Yeah. And that's basically what it comes down to. I'm just looking for someone to tell me I'm right. So
I think you're right, Raz.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
So speaking of someone with a guitar that kind of really draws you in.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. 'Cause I think about it with King Mala playing on Sunset like that. I think that Hey Hey has got something really smart going by having a band play on the, like, not technically the outside, but on, like, their front porch. And other venues are starting to do that. Basically, equidistant on the opposite side of the Echo on Sunset is this new barbecue place that I don't feel like dropping their name. I had a chicken sandwich. It was C. It was like a C minus chicken sandwich. It was chicken on bread.
Right.
Give
something.
A tomato.
A tomato.
Lie to my face and tell me that there was a problem. Not that you just gave me a chicken sandwich. Anyway, I went there because I was going to see Old Time Machine play there. And that's the segue that you were trying to make was we have one half of Old Time Machine on the show tonight.
Right. Yeah, and she plays live. She plays in the studio. She plays live.
Our first ever performance here at the P4.
But yeah, we did a good interview with her, and we talk about this and that.
Some stuff. And some things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is Amelia Card on the green couch. Amelia, Raz has no last name. He's like Bono.
Oh, you're just
Actually,
Raz.
he's more like Cher, because Bono Vox. It's Italian for beautiful voice.
Oh, okay.
That's his full name, but everybody just calls him Bono.
So you're more like Madonna.
Yeah. I am, in so many ways.
Or Charo.
Yeah.
I think you're more like Charo.
Charo?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Coochie Coochie?
Yeah, totally. I could be like Charo.
Cool. He's thinking about growing his hair out. What do you think?
It looks pretty long already. I think. Oh, you want to look like you want to get a man bun or something?
No, I just actually.
Does anybody want to get a man bun?
Yeah, no, that's not my. I used to have really long hair,
Yeah.
and then at a certain point, I guess nature and gravity take its toll.
Mm-hmm.
So
I thought gravity would help the long hair.
No, it doesn't. It ends up in the drain in the shower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was thinking about that's that last hurrah thing.
Sure. I'm growing my hair out because I feel like it's an important thing to do while I still have hair that grows. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then, because I'll be honest, I had to go to the doctor to get, I was freaking out. I saw the top of my head. And I was like, oh, man. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, I'll just get a pill, right? I'll just go online and they get hair pills. Mm-hmm. And, you had to get a prescription. And I felt like a complete dick because I'm going to, see the doctor. I'm taking up his time because, there's, people with the flu and there's, a guy with a broken arm. And I'm like,
can I
get pills for
but I have vanity.
Right? Yeah.
So, but he understood, So, yeah.
That's okay.
So, you are from Texas.
I'm from Texas.
Where in Texas?
I grew up in Dallas. I lived there until I was 18. And then I moved away and went to Arkansas. And then I moved back to Texas and lived in Austin for 3 years to play music, because there's a lot of live music in Austin.
And what brought you to LA?
Well, actually, I moved to LA because I was living in France. So I grew up in Dallas, then I went to Arkansas, then I went to Austin, then I moved to Paris. So I lived in Paris, then I moved back to Austin, then I moved back to France.
What were you doing there?
Well, the first time I went to Paris, I moved there because somebody that I was playing music with in Austin went there to live with his girlfriend, and he said, do you want to come live with me in Paris for a couple months? And I decided that that would be a great idea, because I was playing music in Austin, but I was also working at a music venue, at a guitar shop, and I had a small business, a small cleaning business, and I was really tired, so mostly I just wanted to like go and live in a different country and see what it was like to just play music and try and write.
Do you speak French?
I do speak French.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And where did you learn French?
I learned French the second time I moved to France, because I lived in Paris for 3 months, then I moved back to Austin, then I got really depressed from culture shock and other things, and then I moved back to France and lived in Marseille, and I lived there for 2 years. And that's after that, then I moved to Los Angeles.
All right.
That's
That's bumping about.
okay. That's
Yeah.
it's a round trip, but you got here.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk about France. So,
Okay.
were you playing music in France, or
Yes. Well, so the first time that I went, I was playing music. In Austin, I played a lot of bluegrass music, and I was in a band called Amelia and the Navasota Boys. And
The who?
the Navasota Boys.
Navasota? What's that?
It was a street that it's a street in Austin that their house was on.
Dope.
So I was playing music in Austin with them, and then their guitar player moved to France, and I moved to France to live with him for a little while. So he and I played music a lot there, and we played in bars and did open mics and things like that. But right before I left to live in Paris, I decided to put together an EP, because I wanted to have something to give to people when I moved across the world.
Yo.
So I took my EP over there. I basically like frisbee tossed it at people while I played shows, and I tried to write music.
so were you playing bluegrass music in France?
In France, I was playing bluegrass because of the person that I was playing with, my buddy Ryan O'Donnell. But I am mostly like a folk singer-songwriter. So I was playing some bluegrass, but I was also playing a lot of my songs, which is more of a folk kind of style.
How did they react? I mean,
A lot of my stuff has a lot of country influence because of growing up in Texas, so they loved that.
My understanding is that the French are generally like down with sort of like the more highbrow American cultural exports.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people enjoyed, my music, I think. I was also in a community of friends. So a lot of the shows that we played, there was already kind of a built-in audience.
right? Were they expats or?
No, just young French people,
that's great.
young French men and women. But they do also really enjoy country and folk over there as well. There's a French songwriter called Baptiste Harmon. I'm totally ruining his name. Baptiste Harmon. And he's like a French Townes Van Zandt.
So, but would you sing your songs in French or would you sing in American?
I sang in English.
Okay.
But I did
Did you
learn a
ask
couple.
if she sang American?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I know.
But we're gonna let it slide.
I'm a Cro-Mag.
You can edit it out.
That's okay.
I did learn a couple French songs, like the Pink Martini, Je ne veux pas travailler. That's a fun song to sing. And then I learned another song, J'ai rendez-vous avec vous, which is a Georges Brassens song, and it's really fun to sing.
Right. So you brought your guitar.
I brought my guitar.
And maybe we'll have you sing a
Yeah.
little French for us.
Yeah, that would take a couple takes, but I could do it.
Okay. But you are going to play something for us later.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Cool.
So your band here in LA.
Yes.
Right. So you've jumped around. I don't know why you went from Texas to Arkansas. We'll just bypass that.
Forget that part.
Yeah. So in Austin, you were doing bluegrass, good old-fashioned American music.
Yes.
So that's
And old time as well.
old time. Okay.
Is that a genre or is that a quality of bluegrass?
Old time is basically what came before bluegrass. Old time is more kind of like a lot of fiddle tunes.
It's like other Appalachian music?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're very different. It took me a long time to understand the differences between them, but they're very different genres
Did
of
you
music.
come up listening to that type of music?
So my dad owns a music venue in Dallas called Poor David's Pub. So I grew up around live music, and I grew up going to a folk festival in Texas called the Kerrville Folk Festival. So I grew up more around singer-songwriters, folk kind of music. I wouldn't say that I grew up exactly listening to bluegrass. I kind of grew up listening to like any acoustic music, and blues and jazz. So there was really no one specific genre that I was raised on. Because the bar that he owns, the venue that he owns, it's all different kinds of musicians come in.
Right. And when did you start like playing music?
Well, I think I know my first instrument was the flute, and but I mean, I don't know. I think forever. Like I was always singing growing up. I played piano. I started playing piano, I think, when I was like 9. And guitar I started playing when I was 16. That's when I started writing songs.
And when did you start hanging out at the bar?
Oh, gosh, like when I was born.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you were just kind of...
Oh, it was always there. Like we would just play on the chairs and, run around and dance on the stage. And I basically grew up in a bar, in a music venue bar.
Right. Yeah. So you had no other choice but to be a musician.
I mean, yeah, I think so. That's what it always felt like. That's when I was growing up, I wanted to be a musician and a waitress. I just
why
thought
couldn't
waitresses
my
were so
parents
cool.
raised me in a bank.
Right? Yeah.
Did you ever play in a high school band or like a school band?
Yeah, I played baritone horn.
Oh.
It's basically like in the register between trombone and tuba. I also played tuba.
That was in
played
high
the
school, though,
tuba?
right?
Yeah.
Did you play anything in like elementary school? Like, what was the first instrument that you picked up?
I had an electric keyboard. I don't know. In a similar way, it's like all my uncles were playing at CBGB's when I was a little kid. So we'd go into Manhattan and see Uncle Rockstar.
Yeah, I played recorder at St. Agnes for Sister Mary Kay Conroy. That was my
Recorder?
Oh yeah, I had a recorder. I still have a recorder.
Did you guys have recorder like that?
Well, actually, we didn't have recorder, but we had bells. And during
What?
Christmas, we did the Christmas concert with bells.
Like tubular bells or jingle bells?
No,
or
like choral bells.
Cool.
Yeah, and I got to play 2. Mostly,
Two
you only
bells?
got to play 1, but when you were really good, you got to play 2. So I got to play 2 bells.
Hey, that's why they call her Amelia Two Bells.
Yeah,
Whoa.
let's say it.
Yeah, but we had like, I remember being in 4th grade and like all of a sudden they pulled out a box and everybody,
Yeah.
it was a school sanctioned recorder and they taught us how to play. I don't know, I think it was like Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Do you remember how to play hot cross buns?
I think it was like hot cross buns. or
Next
something.
week I'll bring a recorder and I'll let you
Play hot-
take it for a spin.
We'll have Amelia back. She could play bells.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was that like a big honor playing bells? Like we're like, I get to play 2 bells.
I
and-
mean, okay, I got to tell you something. It was a huge honor for me, and I actually just recently found my music teacher, Mrs. Fruth, on Facebook, because I
Sweet.
could never remember her name. And I won't say her first name in case anybody,
Don't dox this
starts
poor woman.
stalking her and bothering her. And I wrote her because I wanted to tell her how cool it was. Like when I get discouraged about music, I go back and I think about Mrs. Fruth, who gave me the harder harmony parts and let me play 2 bells in the Christmas concert. And I wrote her that and I said, thank you so much. And it really meant a lot to me that you were so encouraging. And she didn't write me back. I don't think she remembers who I am.
I mean, you could at least chalk that up to her being busy. It's better than her having genuinely written back, who?
I don't know. She's pretty old now,
But she's on Facebook.
But she's on Facebook.
well, that's synonymous. Everybody that's on Facebook is old. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of that weird
Does that
thing.
mean I'm young? I'm
Yeah.
not on Facebook.
Yeah.
No,
No,
you're
it
just
it
detached.
is weird. It's how that.
Yeah, it's
like,
just aloof.
yeah, right. Bill's got no friends.
Yeah.
Just me. That's why we're here. We have no friends, so we did a podcast.
Just
So-
as fish. Just a lot of fish.
My lobster. I thought my lobster died the other
Lobster.
morning.
Yeah.
Turns out he just shed again.
Oh, your lobster has a Facebook page?
No, he just makes constant appearances on my Instagram page.
Okay.
He
okay.
just listens to a lot of really cool music.
Yeah, no, I see that. Bill puts up stuff. He's like, yeah, I'm listening to the weather report, and it's like his lobster is just kind of floating around. Like,
Lester's into fusion. What can I say?
Right. What are their names? Lester?
Lester the lobster.
Yeah.
Goldie the goldfish.
Oh my gosh.
Pleco the pleco.
So there we go. We now know about Bill's Instagram pets.
Yeah.
You got pets?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. You got pet peeves?
I have several pet peeves.
Dope.
Lots of pet peeves.
Well, that's why you're a folk singer, and
when you say folk, do you mean like Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell? Are we talking like
I think
what stripe of folk? Because I think that's one of those genres that people can mean a couple of different things when they say it.
I think one of my least favorite things to do is to describe the music that I play and that I write because
That's cool.
I do not understand it.
I'm super
myself.
maximalist about definitions.
Yeah.
Like go broad. It's guitar music.
I mean, basically what happens to me is that I feel something and then something moves through me and it comes out on the guitar. Sometimes it's a little more country, sometimes it's a little more songwritery.
Oh, I thought you were going to say rock and roll.
And sometimes it's a little more rock and roll.
I was doing
sometimes it's a little
an
more
Osmond's
bluesy.
joke.
Yeah. Oh. I'm never not going to get a lot of your jokes.
It's all right. My sense of humor is dull.
no, but that's interesting. Like the process.
Yeah.
Do you hear like a little thing, and then all of a sudden you're like, I gotta write a song? Or I mean, how does that happen?
Actually, here's what happens a lot of the time. I dream about a tune. So I had a dream, and there was a tune in it. Not lyrics or anything, but a tune.
Astral
so I woke
composition.
up. What do you say?
Astral composition.
Yeah. Woke up, just kind of like hummed it into my phone, and then had this idea that, just kind of had like an idea of some lyrics, and then kind of put those two together, and it didn't really fit right. It didn't sound right. It was kind of cheesy. And then what happened is I started to feel all this emotion because of this other stuff going on, and it kind of gave it like, it was like gave it like a breeding ground for the song. I had some of the lyrics, I had some of the tune, I had the emotion to go with it, and then it just kind of came together.
How long did that whole process take?
Well, to actually write everything down, it took me probably like 6 hours, but I think it was a couple weeks that there's like a lot of tunes in my phone that I will never go back to again. There's some that actually sound nice that I'll go back to, but
why was I dreaming about all of these tritones?
Yeah. So like to get it all out and get it on paper, because it has like as soon as that kind of like muse starts to move through, it's like I got to get that out. I can't. I just need it to be out of me because
Right.
It just feels too unsettling. But then as the weeks go on, I've changed some of the lyrics and I've changed the tempo a little bit. So I don't think songs are ever really finished.
That's very Kanye of you.
Yeah.
But the process is interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know about how it hits you, but I have a similar thing where it starts buzzing in the back of my head, and then if I don't get it out, I'm insane for however long it's sitting in my head. People are like, "What's wrong with you?" I mean, they say that a lot, anyways. But what's wrong with you more than what's wrong with you? Like I can't focus because I just hear this thing and then, just vomit it out as quick as possible because I can't focus. I can't think.
Yeah.
So, and what about you? What's your?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Does it ever hit you like that? Does it like? Because Bill's really prolific. I remember when I first met him. He's like, yeah, I'm going to bring over some tracks. You want to hear them? I was like, sure. He brings over this hard drive. It's like 70 songs. He's like, this is my first 5 albums. And that's one of the reasons why we kind of hang out. I'm a really big fan of his music.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
So what happens?
When I write?
Yeah.
I don't know. It usually involves I have to like sit and work at it. I envy people who just have the ideas. I struggle for I have to usually sit at the piano or with a guitar and stay away from rhythm instruments because I'll get bogged down in just like, oh, what if you had like all of these different, what if I had like 3 drum parts, and I try and like write a song around that, and it sounds stupid. It sounds like somebody who was just sort of like wanted to make an experiment. It's like, it sounds cool, but it's better if I come to that later. So I'll start with something and chords, and find usually some sort of chord progression and melody, and then build up a rhythm section around that, and then spend a year trying to write lyrics.
Right. Yeah.
Because I fucking hate doing it.
But no, Bill's, it's really fascinating because like he'll come in and I let him use he comes in and he writes, he's working on a score for a film. Mm-hmm. So he comes up and he's working, and then I'll come by and he's leaving and he's like, oh man, I left you something in Logic to listen to. And I listened to it. It's like 7 minutes of just like awesome. And I'm like, oh, I fucking hate you. This is after he had been working on like a score all day. This is just kind of like, oh yeah, no, I was just kind of, it's just like I left you something. It's like almost like a thank you note, like somebody scribbles it down.
Yeah.
And like I don't know how he comes up with it, and then So anyways, that's why I actually never even asked him that question of like how it comes about. So
usually it's from. I make a very concerted effort not to write songs about feeling bad.
You guys are just pointing at each other. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Because we have the same question at the same time. Go.
Do you only write songs when you're sad?
I don't only write songs when I'm sad. I write songs when I am overwhelmed by some kind of emotion. Because that's how I get it.
Does that include happiness?
Any happy... I don't think I've ever written a happy song.
This is what everybody says. That's the issue.
But I have written some funny songs.
That's a good one.
That are... And maybe maybe that's one of the ones that I'll play tonight, because it is a good song.
Is it in French? Will we get the jokes?
No, it's in English. It's in English. But I
It's
wrote
in American.
It's in American.
It's in American. It's in American. It's about some obsession that I had with a guy. So I wasn't sad about it. It's almost a little satirical, It's not...
Yeah, I write only when I'm miserable.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel better. So,
yeah.
I mean, like I'm miserable all the time.
Yeah.
It's like that joke.
Which
like,
is easy.
I only smoke cigarettes after sex.
Yeah.
And I'm up to a pack a day. But yeah, no, like I'm miserable all the time. So I'm always writing songs. Even like when I'm happy, I went through like a stretch of 5 years of like, I'm happy and I got like fat and I didn't care. And I couldn't like
brimming with self-confidence.
I'm like walking around like going, yeah, man, life is good.
Yeah.
But I couldn't write a song. Like dust piled up on my guitars, and I'm just now perpetually miserable, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because I have a Les Paul and I don't care about it. So right. So whatever.
I mean, anytime that I try to write with something that expresses joy, it just comes off cheesy and just bad. Just not good. I don't know why. I mean,
I have a relative who once told me that happy is stupid. And she meant that in a deeply unironic way. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. She said it with a scowl on her face.
Like, there's a difference between happiness and euphoria. Like, I've written from euphoria, which is just like just like images and like not understanding and being kind of up really high. But happiness, like just being content, there's no songs that come from there.
Right. It's like what can you draw from? Like, everything's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is a song in the Lego movie. Everything is awesome.
Right.
So you need to write show tunes is what you're saying.
Yeah. Everything is cool when you're part of a team.
How do you feel about ghosts? Do you believe in...
Are we going to talk about TV now?
I'm using that to transition to Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and ghosts and UFOs. Are you on board?
I mean, yeah, I think there's also probably aliens in the ocean.
I beg your pardon? You're going to have to explain that statement a little more.
That's a conspiracy theory.
Is it?
Yeah, that we've never been
held by who?
I don't know. It's somebody that I used to live with told me that.
Yeah, no, there's like a whole thing off the West Coast. There's like that shelf.
The Marianas Trench?
Like, we have not been to the bottom of the ocean.
So where did James Cameron go? Somebody tell me where he took his private submarine.
So there's aliens at the bottom of the ocean.
Okay, I mean, I guess.
How do you know if there's not?
Right? That's cryptozoology for you.
That's how religion works.
Yeah, that's how religion works. Exactly.
There's a song, God is in the bottom of the ocean.
So being from Texas, did you grow up in that like church type of music type
Man,
of thing?
Oh,
I
I
went
thought you were going
to-
to say Loch Ness Monster,
Yeah.
Ghost Hunters type of thing.
Yeah. I wasn't sure where he was going with it.
I'm trying to steer this back to like,
Yeah.
to some music because there's some things I want to talk about.
I went to Catholic school from preschool until 12th grade graduation.
Another Catholic.
Yeah. That's why we all.
That's
Are
why we all have
miserable.
crushing guilt complexes.
But I sang in choir, and I have to say that one of my guilty pleasures is like Catholic hymns. Like on the days when I feel really low, I just listen to "He Will Raise You Up on Eagle's Wings."
Are you talking like
a good
modern
song.
Catholic type of things? Because the only hymns that we had like when I grew up, it was all in Latin.
Oh yeah, no, there's
we grew up post Vatican II, yo.
Yeah. "Raise You Up on Eagle's Wings" is a great one. Also, oh God, there's so many good ones. "Here I Am, Lord."
Like he's the Lord, like he can find you. You don't really have to raise your hand. He's like, yeah, I know.
Omnipotent,
everything.
omnipresent one. Here I am.
Here I
inform
am.
You.
I get it. You're there.
Yeah.
There's like a million of you now
There's
saying this. Stop.
Feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, I definitely grew up in choir. But I have more of like a choral kind of operatic voice. And that doesn't really mesh well with like blues and songwriting singer and folk kind of stuff.
It does put you in good company, though, if you're... I mean, you play in a group where there's more than one singer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your band part... And so, to get this clear, it's a trio, right?
We're a duo, but we invite other musicians to play with us as well.
Oh, okay.
So Old Time Machine is Rosie Nolan on banjo and guitar sometimes, me and vocals, and me and Amelia Card on guitar, and I'm learning old time fiddle.
Is the old-time fiddle... I mean, I'm assuming by your definition... By defining it as having a different name, you're saying that it's not the same fiddle you would run into a store and pick up for your middle schoolers' music lessons.
No. So the fiddle, I mean, you could probably find some that are more... The tone of them and the sound of them probably are more geared toward classic music, and I'm sure there's some differences in the bows maybe, but when I say old time fiddle, I mean the style of it.
Ah, okay.
The
Is it
bowing
like when
style
you-
is
when you
very
play
different.
It like low,
Yeah.
like almost like across your middle.
Well, I can't do that. Some people do that though. Yeah. But the bowing style is very different. It's I had somebody explain it to me once as it's almost like circular breathing. Like you can't really tell when things start and when things stop. And there's a lot of crooked tunes, so you have to pay attention really closely to the tunes if you want to kind of break them down and learn how they're constructed.
Right, yeah, that whole like Appalachia sound from a technical aspect, they just did it, and then you have to like reverse engineer it and go, okay, now you go, oh man, that's a lot of technique right there. And they're like, well, yeah, you just make it breathe.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Is that what you were doing in Arkansas?
That is really where I started playing bluegrass music, actually.
Did you go deep Arkansas, or were you like Northwest?
I was
Arkansas?
in Northwest Arkansas. I went to college in Fayetteville.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, that's actually a cool town.
Yeah. That's where I started playing bluegrass for the first time.
How did that happen?
There was a cafe down the street from my house. I can't even remember. I think it was called like Cafe Number 2. There was a bluegrass jam. And I just started going there weekly. And then the guy that ran it, he was having a baby with a woman who was his wife's sister.
Oh.
And
were they twins?
No, they weren't
Did
twins.
she dupe him?
No. But the wife had run off with his son because he was sleeping with her sister. And his son was the guitar player in the band. So they were looking for somebody to find. They were trying to find a guitar player.
Was this band called Fleetwood Mac?
Definitely not Fleetwood Mac.
Did you grow up with records?
I did, but I mean, we didn't really listen to them, but I collect records now, and that's what I love so much about them.
I was going to ask you if the old-time thing crossed from playing into other things.
No, I mean, wait, what's your question?
Like, do you drive an old car?
No.
Did you? I
I
don't
have a
know.
2015 Honda. No.
Sweet.
What's the license plate number?
Old time rocks. No, but I do love records because, oh God, because when you sit down, first of all, you got the album sleeve that you can look at, and you can read about who's actually on, like who's playing with these people. you know, because when you have a CD, yes, it's on there, but it's smaller, and you just don't pay as much attention. But when it's when it's 12 inches, it takes up space, and you want to look at it. I want to look at it. And then when you're listening to a record, you have to pay attention because you got to flip the record, you know? So it gives me an excuse to just sit there for half an hour or an hour and just listen. I can't go and do the dishes. I can't talk to my friends on the phone because I'm sitting there listening to a record.
Okay, so where do you go to buy your records?
I like to go to Gimme Gimme Records because I live in Highland Park. So I'll just be walking down Figueroa, and I'll just stop in, look around, pick up a bunch of stuff that I didn't know that I was going to want, and then I found some French records in there I was pretty excited about.
They've got a good avant-garde selection.
Yeah.
My wife, Aubrey, and I won a gift certificate to there from... Were we with you when that happened?
No, I was with you at Jackknife. Going to Jackknife with Bill was fun.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh look, this is a Russian string quartet, and he puts it under his arm, whoop, and he's like, oh look, Donna Summer, whoop, and he just kept picking up albums, and he was just all excited. It was like a kid, finding presents under the tree.
I found some good Arnold Schoenberg records at Gimme Gimme.
I have a question for you guys, but you were pointing at Bill. So
no, go ahead.
I just want to know if I can ask my question. So because there have been some points in my life when my relationship with music was really tense, and I ended up, for 1 year, I just didn't even play my guitar for a whole year. And it was really I felt really resentful towards the idea of being a musician and the difficulties that you can experience. Wanting to do that professionally and not actually being able to, and then, So I'm just curious, have you guys ever gone through periods where you just thought, fuck you, music, I want nothing to do with you?
I had a 5-year period.
5 years.
Yeah. I was working with someone that was connected, and I spent 18 months working with this person, and we had 12 or 14 songs, and that whole 18 months was oh, you're going, this is it. Start looking at houses. Let's talk about, I could call the agent at William Morris. They were sending limos to my house, the whole 9 yards. So it was a big deal. And I was like, oh, I finally made it. So we played the songs for the record company, and there was lawyers, and we finished playing the songs, and there was just a lone voice that just said, no, I don't like this. And then that person, all I remember is seeing the shadow get up and walk out, and 15 other shadows get up and walk out. And then I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Wow.
And I was just sitting there on the couch in this person's house. And I went home, and I was like, fuck this.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I just put all my guitars. I had that guitar that I'm pointing to. It's my Takamine.
Mm-hmm.
I just put it in a case, and I think I put it in a crawl space, and I was just like, I am done.
Yeah.
And that was my 5 years of happiness where I couldn't write a song. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah. So I tell people, it's been a horrible mistress. It's been a terrible mistress. But yeah. So yeah, I had a 5 year. You? Did you have anything like that?
No.
Yeah, you're still young.
I go through cycles where sometimes I don't feel like it, so I'll paint instead, or I'm really into reading.
Oh,
That's all.
Yeah, because Bill's an actual artist.
Oh.
That's Bill's art up on the wall behind me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bill's an artist.
Cool. Well, it's interesting that you say that it's your 5 years of happiness, because I think the most miserable I've ever been was when I was miserable and I wasn't playing music.
That's when Van Gogh couldn't paint.
Yeah. It was I couldn't go to shows. Anytime I went to a show, I just felt resentful towards everybody playing because I just wanted to be playing so badly, but I felt so hurt by it. But I've talked to other friends that have gone, friends that are musicians that have gone through this, and I just think maybe it's something that happens with creative endeavors. It's just it's an ebb and flow, and sometimes you're feeling it and it feels good to be connected to it, and then sometimes you need a break from it because can be so intense.
Right. What was the catalyst for you that made you just walk away and go, fuck
Well,
this?
because I was in France and I was putting out my music everywhere, and I was also drinking very heavily, and I hit a block and I couldn't write anything. And I was just pissed. I was living in France. I'd gone there to write music. I thought that I was going to become this musician, and then I just one day said to myself, you know what? This isn't what I'm supposed to do with my life. I'm not supposed to play music. And so I just said, I'm not going to do it anymore. And then I came back to Austin, and everybody was like, wait a second, but you just released this EP, and you play all these shows, and now you're not playing music? Why? So, and then I moved back to France, and I just kind of like ran away from all of that. And coming to Los Angeles and meeting Rosie, I've slowly been getting back into it. The relationship that I have with it now is so much different and so much better.
So Rosie was the thing that got you back in.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Because there's always that one person that kind of falls into your life. I had a similar thing where a friend of mine, Chris Brochu, he's a singer-songwriter. You know, I told him the whole story, and I haven't been playing. He's like, man, you got to play. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, right? He's like, yeah, you just got to play. Yeah. But that's what it is. Like, you're a musician, you got to play.
You just got to play.
You got to play.
Yeah, because honestly, it's like this incredible, I don't really know how people that don't have some kind of access to creativity and expression get through life. You know, like when I can get really connected and write a song, it feels like my soul is like being expressed, you know, and I feel like I have meaning again. But when I'm not, everything feels kind of like stagnant and dead, you know. And so to not play and to not write and to not try to tap into that feels really kind of like a loss. Like, why wouldn't I do that if it was gifted to me?
Right.
You know, there was something when we were talking about the process. I'm reading this book right now called Mink River, and there's a woman. There's all these different characters.
Mink River. Don't cross it; it will bite.
It's a really good book. Could you not make fun of it, please? I'm just kidding. But there's a character in it, and they describe her process of like she's got a piece of cedar on the table, and she walks up to the cedar and she looks at it, and she doesn't pick up any of her tools until she until she has an idea of what it's going to be. It's almost like the cedar shows her what it's going to be, and then she starts to make a man, and after it's done, then she just weeps and sobs. And I just loved that idea of like you have this thing that's in front of you, and it's going to tell you, it's going to kind of give you an idea of what it is to help you then cut it out and then like process whatever's going on inside.
Do you weep and sob after you write a song?
During.
Oh.
Before, during, and after. That's how I know it's a really good song, because I can't get through it because I'm crying.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Just a couple of them, not all of them. I mean, a couple of the really sad songs.
Right. Okay, so Amelia, we're gonna leave it at right where you talked about your little sad weeping. So we'll leave that with everybody. They can know that I'm
a sad sack.
That you weep and cry.
That I'm sad.
So you did bring your guitar.
I did bring my guitar. Yeah.
And we're gonna have you play for us.
Okay.
So I'll let you get tuned up.
Should I take this off?
No, leave that on.
Okay. Can I leave my shoes off?
You can leave your shoes off.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the name of this tune?
Oh, so this is the song that we were talking about earlier. The song that I wrote when I felt sad.
Okay.
I thought I would play that one. But it's not really, like, it's really new and it doesn't really have a title, so. And we'll probably change some, so.
So it's Untitled Happy Song.
It's untitled Sad Song. This is the non-happy song.
Oh. I stand corrected. Untitled Sad Song.
This is the, yeah. Okay, I'll just play it. House needs picking up as they leave in a hurry. Go on, y'all, don't miss your plane. All the beds are made with laughter and stories, and everything moves too fast. She needs a rest and her thoughts won't be still. Holds back and tries on a smile. Framed on the wall, hanging West Texas wind beat everything dry as she played with her daddy's tools. He taught her to drink and to get up early, 'cause everything moves too fast. Tied up with rings and a baby not much later. Secrets no one would know. She grew up quick, fighting for her safety, and everything moved too fast. Soon as I get there, it's time to leave, right when I understand. It's a dirty old trick, it's sour and cheap, everything moves too fast. Now here I stand, the courage of my mother. I hold all the sorrow she cans, hand in hand. We bleed and discover that everything moves too fast. Soon as I get there, it's time to leave, right when I understand. All I really need is my heart to break open when everything moves too fast. All I really need is a heart breaking open when everything moves too fast. That was really uncomfortable.
Well, that was great. What was
Thank you.
What was uncomfortable about that?
Oh, just, I don't know. Cameras.
Cameras, yeah, no, it's weird. That was good.
Thanks.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So, Amelia,
Yes.
thank you for being on the Green Couch today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tell us where you guys are going to be playing or what you have coming up.
I'm playing a honky tonk night at Stories, Books, and Cafe on November 6th.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so people will be able to find out about that on your Instagram.
Instagram for Old Time Machine is at OldTimeLA. And then my Instagram is singing.sister.
Okay. And then your show is in November.
November 6th at Stories, Books, and Cafe
Awesome.
from 8 to 10.
Well, thank you for coming and playing
Yeah.
and being on the Green Couch.
Thanks for having me.
You were a wonderful guest.
Okay, cool. You guys were fun to hang out with.
Hosts.
Yeah, you guys were adequate hosts.
On the Green Couch is a production of ArtSchool Records in conjunction with and recorded at Project 4 Studios in Burbank, California. The show is edited by Raz, with additional production support by Dixie Trussell. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review us in Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. It all goes to helping other people find us. For more information, please visit our forever home on the web at artschoolrecords.com. I'm Bill Zunkin, and thanks for listening.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. There is a wild cycle that spins me round. Magic, madness, and sound.